Thank you, Mr. Monet, for that incredible performance. I'm Ben Jaffe here at Preservation Hall. Good evening and welcome to the Preservation Hall Foundation's fourth annual Legacy Induction Ceremony. Of course, we wish we could all be here together in person at Preservation Hall, and no doubt we will be. Until that time, we are all thrilled to be connecting with you here online. This is an exciting moment for us as we induct the next class of Legacy members, including Mr. Wendell Brunius, Mr. Richard Moten, Mr. Kerry Brown, Mr. Greg Stafford, Mr. Roger Lewis, and Mr. Steve Pistorius. These incredible musicians exemplify what it truly means to be a New Orleans musician, and it's my honor this evening to induct them into this year's class of Legacy Award recipients. The Preservation Hall Legacy Program was established in 2015 to reflect and honor the accomplishments of New Orleans living music master practitioners. We believe it's important to acknowledge and recognize these incredible members of our community during their lifetime. We believe that tradition is a body of knowledge and a practice. Tradition is also a special bond between the elder and the student, a tradition that is embraced and still practiced today, and the tradition that these master practitioners grew up with when they were students. Each one of these ceremonies has special meaning to me. These are all musicians that I've grown up being inspired by, learning from, and in some cases performing alongside. So, without further ado, let's begin the evening so we can acknowledge these incredible musicians for their incredible talents and for gracing us with so much joy over the years. A one-person New Orleans institution, Kerry Brown wears many hats. His favorite is seated behind the drums. Mr. Brown was born in 1954. He learned to play in the Baptist churches of New Orleans. Mr. Brown is comfortable performing in many musical styles. Throughout his decades-long career, Mr. Brown has toured and recorded with the Allman Brothers, David Allan Coe, B.B. King, Jimmy Page, Clarence Gatemouth Brown, and many, many more. In 2013, he reunited with the Allman Brothers on stage at the Gretna Heritage Festival. Mr. Brown has served as director of the festival and talent coordinator for upwards of 20 years. Mr. Brown is neighbor and caregiver to 93-year-old great and Preservation Hall Foundation Legacy awardee, Mr. Lawrence Cotton, Preservation Hall and New Orleans' eldest working musician. During COVID-19, the two old neighbors gather at Mr. Cotton's home to record in his home studio.
KB, I'd like to take a moment to congratulate you on receiving the Pres Hall Master Practitioner Award. Although you are a drummer, you are much, much more than that. You have dedicated your whole life to uplifting the New Orleans musical community. You have been a life support to our elder musicians and a mentor to our young and up and coming. For those things, I congratulate you, brother. Thank you. Love you.
It's an honor to acknowledge this gentleman and to bestow this honor to him. I've known this gentleman for many, many years and have played with him on many occasions. Mr. Kerry Brown.
I sure would like to thank my papa, Lawrence Cotton. He's helped me to survive all of these years. I've been with him now for 20 years, 21 of those years, taking care of him. And I'd like to thank my wife, who's been with me for 25 of those, 25 of those years. And it's been a wonderful blessing.
Kerry, you talk about Lawrence Cotton, and one of the things that I've always felt connected to about music in New Orleans is the music, of course. Just as important, or if not more important, it's the community of musicians. It's not, and I don't use this term lightly when I say family.
Yes.
Because the generation of musicians that you grew up under, that you end up becoming your family. And
Yes.
like you said, like Lawrence, your
Yes.
you called him your pawpaw. You know,
Yeah,
this is,
that's right,
he's your
Lawrence.
neighbor, yes, but there's a beauty. Could you talk a little bit about those growing up and seeing, you know, those people in your life that that you got to see that love and community and family connection from?
I grew up around musicians who took care of musicians. I've seen organizations take care of people when they die. I was a mortician for 25 years. So I was in the funeral, my family's in the funeral business. So I've seen it all and done it all. And I just tried to take it around the world. And now I'm back here, and it's good to share it with other musicians. That's kind of why I do the Gretna Fest, because it helps musicians, the local musicians.
Yes.
The guy who can't get a break,
Yes.
you know? And that's what I'm about.
Well,
Thank you.
you have blessed us with your talent and your music and your spirit. And for that, I'm forever grateful. And I want to thank you for your dedication and commitment to the music community, the musicians, and this city. So on behalf of Preservation Hall, Kerry, I'd like to personally not just give you this honor, but acknowledge the legacy that you grew up under and now that you are a part of and will be for years and years to come, I hope. So
Thank you so much, Ben.
Wendell Brunious hails from a long line of legendary New Orleans trumpeters. Born October 27, 1954, Mr. Brunious grew up in the 7th Ward neighborhood of New Orleans, which was also home to many of this city's finest musicians. He honed his craft under the guidance of his father, John Picky Brunious, as well as his older brother, John. Wendell's mother was the sister of Lester and Burnell Santiago, two of the top pianists in New Orleans music. With this kind of family history, it was natural that Wendell grew up learning music at an early age, making his first recording at age 9 and picking up the trumpet at 11. Later, Mr. Brunious befriended the late band leader Kid Thomas Valentine. Eventually, Wendell found himself playing along Mr. Valentine at Preservation Hall. Wendell and his older brother John both went on to lead future Preservation Hall bands, at home at the Hall and on tour around the world. I had the distinct pleasure and honor of touring, performing, and recording with Wendell shortly after I graduated college. Today, Mr. Brunious serves as an educator and clinician with the Trombone Shorty Foundation and the Preservation Hall Foundation, passing on the traditions of New Orleans music to the next generation.
Hey y'all, this is Mark Bro, along with Hopscotch here. We want to give a shout out to our uncle, the great Mr. Wendell Brunius. Congratulations on your Legacy Award. Thank you for touching so many lives all around the world with your music. Thank you personally for putting the trumpet in my hand. You changed my life and you changed so many lives around our great city, mentoring so many musicians. Warm, heartfelt congratulations to you. I love you. Hope to see you soon.
It's my blessing and honor to acknowledge a gentleman who's been an inspiration to me and many generations of musicians, Mr. Wendell Bernius.
All right, thank you, everybody. I'm just honored to be here and honored to be part of this and be rewarded with this beautiful plaque and with guys I grew up with and learned to respect. And we just tried to make the best music we could all through these years and just to continue to be part of Preservation Hall. I mean, when I was a kid, my Uncle Lester Santiago used to play right here. And my dad would bring me here. My dad even played here a couple of times. And my older brother, John, my nephew, Mark Bro, me is just, so it's been an integral part of our musical journey, let's call it. And I'm just honored and just real happy to be here. Thank you, Ben.
Hey, man.
Cool, man. Thank you so much, brother.
You know, I can honestly say that it's fewer and fewer now that have known me since I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yep.
you know that as well.
Yep.
You know, to a certain age, everybody's known you, and then you start knowing people.
Oh, exactly,
You know?
exactly.
Being a musician in New Orleans, the way you grew up, meant more than just playing. Playing was was an important, integral part of it.
Yeah.
There was a whole other aspect to being
the
a
whole-
member of the community
Yeah, and the
and checking
culture
on
and all the
people
whole-
and
yeah.
you know, and bringing people into your world. I mean, you know, him giving you a shot as a young musician to come marching. And not that
Yeah.
you already knew the tradition, but you were
Sure.
being brought into
Yeah.
this sacred tradition of playing a funeral or playing an event. You know.
Yep, and it's kind of a spot you had to earn because you had to know the music, you had to dress properly in those days, you know. And like when I was 20, Papa French called my daddy for a gig, and my dad said, "Well, I'll send my son." So Papa said, "Okay." Thought he was going to send my brother John, and I showed up there with my big bushy hairdo and my best suit. He says, "Man, who are you, man?" I said, "Well, I'm Pickett's son, man." Picky's son, oh my God, we thought he was going to send John. Well, needless to say, that brings your self-esteem kind of down. But he said, he did one thing for me, Ben. He said that, "Look, tonight you're my band leader. We're going to play with you, whatever songs you call." He didn't say, you know the least up here. He just put it in those terms. And I've tried to do that with young musicians when they come here to sit in with me. "What you got, man? There's no sense in me putting my thumb on you, you know? What you got, bro?
Yeah.
Let's just make your bulb shine the brightest
That's
you're going to do
beautiful.
it tonight."
Yeah, that's
You know?
because you were of a generation of musicians that inspired me in a different way than the older generation did.
Yep.
You know, as a young musician, and you're trying to find your own place in all of this.
Your own voice.
And you have, you're growing up listening to one thing, but in New Orleans, we also, in certain neighborhoods, like where you grew up in certain families, there's this whole other, tradition.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and that's, I've always found that beautiful about the city and loved that aspect of it. But do you remember, I remember you playing here, and you were it was the first time that I saw someone under 70
Yeah, actually playing
playing
yeah.
with
with
Kid
some of the old
Thomas
guys. That's right.
or Percy
Yeah.
and sitting next to them, and that was so inspiring to me as a young musician, coming up to have somebody that I could relate to, in a different way.
Of course.
I could relate to the older generation as parents and grandparents, but to relate to someone, you were our Michael Jordan, at that time.
There's so many great stories about New Orleans, man. And we were so lucky to grow up and be part of this thing, an integral part of it. And it's an integral part of us. Now, and that's like, wow, man, What a great
Yeah.
thing. So
Well,
thanks once again, brother.
Wow. I should be thanking. Believe me. I thank you. From all of us that make this place happen, because it's taken a team and several generations to make this work. I appreciate
Thank you,
every
brother.
aspect
Thank
of that.
you, man.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
always try to represent our culture in the highest way that I can. And I just love this culture. I respect it so much and appreciate people like you perpetuating our culture, just because New Orleans is a very special place, brother.
Well, Wendell, this is
Thank you, brother.
absolutely.
Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody. All right. Cool.
The next selection I'd like to play for you is entitled Soon A.H. will be done with the troubles of this world. It's a song that has an A-B section. The first part talks about being finished with the troubles of this world, and the B section talks about going home with God. I hope you enjoy it. This is a very special arrangement that I've done, so I hope you enjoy it.
That was wonderful. Thank you again, Ricky. I should point out that Ricky Monet is a member of our Legacy program. The Preservation Hall Legacy Programs provides assistance, support, and many other services to the elder statesmen of our community. Tonight, these fine gentlemen join 14 other honorees who receive monthly support, as well as emergency medical support, transportation to and from performances, and resources available through the Preservation Hall Foundation. For more information on the Preservation Hall Foundation or to make a contribution, you can visit our website. We are forever grateful for your support of our Legacy program and the work of the Preservation Hall Foundation. From us to you, thank you. Roger Lewis is a living New Orleans musical icon. A legendary baritone saxophonist, Mr. Lewis is a co-founder of the world-renowned Dirty Dozen Brass Band. Born in 1941 right here in New Orleans, he became interested in the saxophone once he heard his cousin Alvin Daly play the alto. After a stint with band leader Deacon John, Mr. Lewis made his first road trip in 1962, hitting the urban theater circuit with pianist Eddie Bow. After playing both tenor and baritone saxophone in Miss Irma Thomas's band during the late 1960s, Mr. Lewis joined Fats Domino's ensemble in 1971 and was Fats Domino's go-to baritone player through 2008. Formed in 1977, the Dirty Dozen has been one of New Orleans' most influential bands. The Dirty Dozen has toured 5 continents and more than 30 countries, recorded 12 studio albums, and collaborated with a huge range of artists, from Elvis Costello to Widespread Panic, Dizzy Gillespie, Norah Jones, Dr. John, and Dave Matthews. Today, Mr. Lewis continues to innovate, building on the Dirty Dozen's signature fusion of the traditional New Orleans brass band repertoire with bebop, funk, R&B, and pop cultural influences. When Mr. Lewis is in town, we're overjoyed to see him here at Preservation Hall for our numerous education programs during the day and playing with his lifelong friends for our audiences nightly.
I just want to take this time out to thank my good friend, Mr. Roger Lewis, and say congratulations to you, man. If anybody in New Orleans deserves this, you deserve it, man, because you've been here from the times when I first started playing music as a young man. And I remember when I first met you, Roger, you were playing with Fats Domino and Deacon John and a bunch of cats and playing New Orleans music the way it was back in the game. So I just want to say to you, man, congratulations and all the best to you. And much, much love to you, my brother. Peace and love, Roger Lewis from Shannon Powell, the real king of Treme. Yeah.
It's my distinct honor and pleasure and blessing to acknowledge this gentleman's contribution to music and New Orleans. I'd like to bestow this honor to Mr. Roger Lewis. Roger.
You know, it's an honor, privilege, and a pleasure to accept an award like that and be recognized by your peers. You know, I mean, I'm just about to tear up, really. You know, but thank you very much. I really appreciate this from the bottom of my heart.
You know, the appreciation is from us to you.
Well, I
And
understand, but I appreciate what y'all appreciate too, because I mean, man, it's a good feeling to know that somebody appreciates you. You know, I've been doing music for what, about 60 some odd years now. I started playing music in 1948. I started playing saxophone in 1950. You know, so it's been a while. You know, been quite a little run right now. You know, I've been through a lot of little things coming up playing music in this city. You know.
Well, I know that you have been an inspiration, an influence on multiple generations of musicians. And you had the same experience as coming up as well. There were many generations of musicians that influenced you and that you looked up to.
My first instrument was piano. I studied piano when I was 8 years old. It was 50 cents a lesson at that time, you know. But I had a cousin by the name of Alvin Bailey. He played with Roy Goodrock and Brown, and he played the alto saxophone. So I seen the saxophone, you know. You know, there's a lot of stuff that went down in my, during my musical career that we'll be talking till, next year.
As far as I know, you all were the first brass band to take the music inside that way.
Yeah.
Where you became a featured band. It wasn't the second line ends and the band goes into the club.
Right.
Or, marching into the convention or the wedding or we're the featured band.
Yeah.
You come out and check us out.
You see what I think what made the Dirty Dozen popular and really caught on is because of the music that we was playing. Because, at that time we was experimenting with a lot of different kind of music. And that's when I met Charles Joseph, though. Because Charles and I had been playing together with Benny Jones, who started the Dirty Dozen Brass Band, the original 6-ward Dirty Dozen Brass Band. But I think what made the band took off, we was playing traditional New Orleans music, of course. But then we started playing the music of Miles Davis and Charlie Parker and Thelonious Monk, Duke Ellington, Jimmy Forrest, Horace Silver. And then, like I said, the different choices of the tunes and bringing them to the street.
Yes.
Nobody ain't walking down the street playing Blue Monk or playing Caravan.
I grew up with that in my ear, and when I heard you all, I said, okay, this is the evolution of that. But if you go back, to them as young musicians, when they were your age, when you all were, 20s and 30s.
It's the same thing, really.
It was the same thing to them. It sounds old now, or it sounds, like this is how it's always been, but it wasn't. That's the beauty, and that's what you all have inspired a generation of musicians to be, not just the band, but yourself, is to discover their voice and to connect it to this incredible long line of musicians that have inspired all of us for generations. I want to thank you for everything. And
hey, man, I thank you.
And I'm looking forward to so many more opportunities to sit down and talk and catch up again. Thank you, Roger.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
Yes. Richard Moten is one of New Orleans' most dynamic and sought-after bassists in the city. Mr. Moten was born in 1952 and grew up in the Gentilly neighborhood of New Orleans. Mr. Moten's mother, a Juilliard-educated concert pianist, inspired him to pursue music professionally at a very young age. By the age of 15, he became incredibly proficient on both the piano and electric bass. Mr. Moten performed dance, R&B, and top 40 music of the 60s and 70s with the William Houston Youth Orchestra for 20 years. While attending Dillard University, he worked with many New Orleans bands, including Chocolate Milk in their very early days. Mr. Moten transitioned to the upright bass in 1989 and began to master the traditional style of playing he's known for today. Prior to COVID-19, Mr. Moten served as an active clinician with the Preservation Hall Foundation, sharing his expertise with students through the Foundation's Kids in the Hall and Sensory-Friendly Family Day programs.
Hi, Richard. I'm so glad to hear that you have been selected for the 2020 Preservation Hall Legacy Awards. You are so much well-deserving for this, being a great musician and your dedication to the music. We've had a lot of great times playing music at Preservation Hall and at the Palm Court Restaurant and on our tours in Europe. And I look forward to being back on the stage with you in the near future. And congratulations.
It's, again, an honor to acknowledge this gentleman who's been such an important role model and a musical institution in this city, Mr. Richard Moten. Richard, I want to hand this to you as just a physical expression of our gratitude to you and your life's achievement and work as a musician and member of this incredible community.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, all the members of this wonderful Pres Hall organization for keeping the New Orleans music and sharing our music with the world. And thank you for the opportunity to play here. It's been an honor to be here the time that I have been here. So, so thank you everyone. Thanks so much.
Again, it's our gratitude. And you know, growing up, I knew you through some of your other musical, expressions. I believe I saw you even as a child playing at Jazz Fest, because that's where I would oftentimes see musicians outside of Preservation Hall, was at Jazz Fest. And I don't know if you remember any of those early Jazz Fest moments back in the, 70s and 80s.
I remember I used to play with Kid Jordan, and he had a fusion band from Southern University. We played there a lot, and I was playing electric bass then. I wasn't playing upright bass. I started playing upright bass in 1990, so I was a latecomer to the upright. But I did some of those early jazz, and it was so different then because it was really personal, and you could have an interaction with people because they only had the tent, and you were right there, and you could talk to people from the stage. Right, it was a great experience and a great time. I wish that it was still like that, or they could have that type of festival. But this is a place where where musicians are able to play acoustically and have an interaction with the audience and get that feedback directly from the audience. And it's a great feeling for the musicians, great feeling for the audience, and I miss it. I'll be so happy when it comes back.
Us too.
Yeah.
Well, Richard, I want to say on behalf of all of us that your music has brought us all incredible joy, and you're a personal inspiration to me as a bassist, and I have respected and admired your playing for many, many years, and consider you an influence on me and generations of New Orleans musicians, and have made thousands, if not hundreds of millions of people better through your music. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Steve Pistorius has honored the New Orleans musical tradition since the 1970s as a piano player, soloist, sideman, band leader, and educator. Known as a student of early New Orleans stride piano techniques, Mr. Pistorius' playing is reminiscent of Jelly Roll Morton and other early New Orleans pianists. Born in 1954, Mr. Pistorius grew up in the outskirts of New Orleans. He studied under mentors like early Preservation Hall pianists Sweet Emma Barrett and Jeanette Kimball, composer U.B. Blake, banjoist Danny Barker, and trumpeter Kid Sheik Kohler, whom he later joined on a number of Preservation Hall tours worldwide. Mr. Pistorius has since toured the South Pacific, Far East, Europe, Scandinavia, South America, including the Galapagos Islands and the Middle East. Today, Steve continues to be a mentor to a number of up-and-coming New Orleans musicians seeking to learn the New Orleans style.
Hi, Steve. Welcome to the Legacy Program sponsored by the Preservation Hall Foundation. You as a master practitioner deserve it. Enjoy it, as I do. Congratulations.
Our next inductee is unable to join us in person this evening, so we're going to make our introduction to this gentleman virtually. I've known Steve Pistorius my whole life. He's known me my whole life. He's been a consistent figure on the New Orleans music scene for decades, and he's a true artist committed to his craft. And it's my pleasure and honor to introduce and welcome Mr. Steve Pistorius into the Preservation Hall Legacy program. Thank you, Steve. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, Ben. I'm very honored.
It's even though we can't be here in person, if there's anything you would like to say, I know that how much this space and room mean to you, and all of the great musicians that you've had the pleasure of knowing over the years. And I don't know if it'd be great to just hear you talk a little bit and speak a little bit to what this means to you.
Well, as far as today, that room is still one of the most important rooms in the world to me for playing music. It's an honest room for playing music. You can actually play music without amplification there. People come there to listen. That's a wonderful thing to me. It's a gift these days, to play there. It was a gift at the very beginning. It's just a wonderful, unique place where you can actually be heard. You can actually make music and people are listening to it. It sounds like a simple concept, but it's getting more and more rare. And I appreciate it more and more the older I get. As far as the older musicians that I got to work with there early on, one thing I've said my whole life about musicians in general that play this music, and it's especially true for New Orleans musicians, the human beings are just as important to me as the music that they play. They're just wonderful individuals. Their character and their personalities and their standards and all, it's always stood out to me. And that's been a real important part of knowing all these people.
Steve, I want to once again thank you and express our appreciation for your lifelong commitment. And I'm so happy that we're able to recognize your incredible talent, and looking forward to many more years of getting to hear you back here in Preservation Hall.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you so much. I'm honored and flattered.
Greg Stafford is recognized as one of New Orleans' premier trumpet players and band leaders. Born in 1953, Mr. Stafford was raised in the Central City neighborhood of New Orleans. As a young man, he played for the E. Gibson Brass Band, as well as the Fairview Baptist Church Band under the guidance, tutelage, and leadership of the great Danny Barker. Throughout his distinguished career, Mr. Stafford has performed with the Olympia, the Onward, the Royal, the Excelsior, and Hurricane brass bands. And for many years, Mr. Stafford served as the leader of the storied Tuxedo Brass Band. Like so many of the educators and musicians who served as father figures to Mr. Stafford, today Greg is a father figure to many musicians right here in New Orleans and around the world. Mr. Stafford is credited as co-founding the group The Black Men of Labor, a civic organization dedicated to reaffirming and paying tribute to the contributions of African American men in the workplace while promoting and preserving traditional New Orleans music.
Right. Well, Greg Stafford, I don't know of another black man in this industry of traditional jazz music who is more deserving than you. You have stood steadfast to the tradition, and I'm sure that Danny Barker is extremely proud of you from the days of the Fairview Baptist Band all the way up to current status. And you've been unconditionally and unequivocally and unapologetically about the tradition. And we just want to say, man, we love you. And may God continue to wrap his arms around you and shine his light in your path.
It's my honor and privilege to extend this acknowledgement to one of our finest musicians in New Orleans, a true inspiration to myself, Mr. Greg Stafford.
Hey, Ben.
Greg.
It's an honor and pleasure for me to be here to receive this award. You know, many years ago, I embarked upon a journey to try to preserve the heritage and the culture of New Orleans traditional jazz. And throughout those years, I met a lot of great individuals, great musicians such as Kid Chic, Kid Thomas, Percy Humphrey, Willie Humphrey, Louis Nelson, Sweet Emma, Paul Barnes. And these musicians really had an impact on my life and gave me an incentive to do what I do today as a musician. I learned so much from them in a musical sense, life skills, how to present myself. And this has really paid off. And I never took it for granted that I had the drive and the motivation and ambition to keep this music going. And I just pray that I can continue to spread the music across the world and share my talents and give to the world the things that these people have given me throughout the years. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, well, Greg, you mentioned a lot of important people to yourself, and
yes.
I knew many of those same people, and they were the men and women who we both grew up hearing play,
yes.
and inspired both of us to play music.
Yes.
And I must say, your generation of musicians, the musicians who came up under Danny Barker,
yes.
and all those fine young musicians who've gone on to be Leroy Jones,
yes.
and Dr. Michael White,
yes.
and some of the Dirty Dozen. You all were the inspiration to our generation to play music.
Yeah.
You know, James Andrews.
Yes.
Nicholas Payton.
Well, they constantly coming.
Yeah.
Trombone
We're still working on Trombone Shorty. We were coming up,
yes.
and you all were the connection to a piece of your history.
Yes, yes.
Then you were able to share that with us, and
yes.
I wanted to acknowledge that and thank you for that, and let you know that I've always appreciated the knowledge that you cherish, and that you have shared so graciously with us and the world.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ben. Not only being around listening to the music of those gentlemen, many nights I used to come here as a young man to hear the music, but I developed a great fraternal relationship with people like Father L., Emmanuel Sales, because many times when I would come and I was in college, and I would sit here till like 12 midnight till all the music was over, and I'd have to go to class the next day. But I used to take Father L home at nights because I lived uptown. I had this little 69 Camaro. It was almost like a taxi service for some of the guys because many times the cab drivers would pass Father L up, and I'd put him in my car, take him home. I'd take Emmanuel Sales home sometimes. I'd take Miss Kimball home sometimes. So, it was just, I felt like it was a duty on my part to be able to assist them and help them. I used to go get medicine for Wartia Thomas, all those little hidden things that people don't realize that was part of just growing up in New Orleans and developing that extended kinship with the musicians, because they were all just like a family to me. And as I go throughout the years, I appreciate what you're doing and keeping the music going and honoring us as for what we try to do. And I'm pretty sure there are going to be more musicians to come, and hopefully they can continue to live out the legacy that those have gone before us and keep it coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you once again. That's why I don't look like Kimo Sami.
Great.
All right, thank you.
I want to express my personal thanks and appreciation to all of you for all of your support for the work that we do here at Preservation Hall. I also want to acknowledge all of the team members who unselfishly, particularly during this time, help bring this incredible vision to the world. Wonderful. Now I get to do what I truly enjoy doing the most in life, and that's playing music. Tonight, I will be performing alongside Mr. Ricky Monet and the musical director of the Legacy program, the one and only Mr. Charlie Gabriel. Thank you once again, and I can't wait until our doors are back open and we can safely congregate here at Preservation Hall and enjoy music together in person once again.
To sing the blues. I got a right to feudal down. I got a right to hang around, down around the river. Certain girl in this town keep dragging my heart down. All I see for me is misery. Yes, I got a right to sing the blues. I got a right to feel low down. I got a right to hang around, oh, down around the river. Oh, the deep blue sea will soon be calling me. You can say what you choose. I got a right to sing the blues, yeah. I got a right to sing the blues. I got a right to feel low down. I got a right to hang around down around the river. Certain girl in this town keep dragging my heart down. All I see for me is misery. So I got a right to sing the blues. I got a right to feel low down. I got a right to hang around down around the river. Oh, the deep blue sea will soon be calling me. You can say what you choose. I got a right to sing the blues. Me to New Orleans. I will show you a great time. All your dreams will come true with me by your side. So come with me to New Orleans. What a city you will see. All your dreams will come true in New Orleans. Come with me to New Orleans. I will show you a great, great time. All your dreams will come true. With me by your side. So come with me to New Orleans. What a city you will see. All your dreams